So, hello everyone at Green Hustle Festival. We have had a little film from Georgie Skirfield today about the Enclosure Walk in Nottingham, which a few of you might have heard of already. And a few of you might have heard about the Enclosure Acts as well. And the Enclosure Acts feeds into this old idea of the commons.
Well, the history in England in the past 500 years is kind of a paradigm of how commercial wealthy forces take for themselves, privatize, commercialize our shared wealth. And the whole enclosure movements that occurred over the course of several centuries were basically a conspiracy between the parliament and the aristocracy and kings to take the land and the fish and the forest and the other shared natural resources that belong to all of us.
What we're talking about today is a real life thriving common, and actually it's in Derbyshire, so we're taking a little trip over to the next county, and we're here with Katherine. Katherine, would you like to introduce yourself, please, for our viewers at Green Hustle, and tell us a little bit about Whistlewood Common?
Yeah, my name is Katherine Parrish. I'm currently the chair of Whistlewood Common, and we are a co-op, and we own 10 acres in South Derbyshire. So that's me and about 400 other people currently. And we've basically turned a field that had just grass and one oak tree on it, and we've turned it into a community hub space, growing space, through sort of hard work and volunteering. So we have a community straw bale building where we do different activities and courses. We have a community orchard. We have a sort of natural play area for children. We have other wildlife areas and pond areas. And we're also planning our forest garden and a community garden on site. That's basically where we're at now, and we started in 2013. So
amazing. Did you intend to? Did you go out looking for a bit of land, or was it a bit of land came up and you got together some interested people about, what can we do with this space? How did it come about?
So we were initially a transition town initiative called Melbourne Area Transition. We worked on lots of environmental projects locally in Melbourne and South Derbyshire. And then we were looking for like a really, really much bigger space to demonstrate permaculture principles. So when we saw some land for sale, we'd already sort of built a relationship with the National Forest, and we said, we've seen this land, we want to buy it, can you help us? And they said that they'd give us half the money if we raised the other half. So that's how we then set up the co-op to raise the money to actually buy the land.
Oh, fantastic. And anybody can get involved with the co-op, can't they? I understand that so it works a bit like a membership scheme, doesn't it? Would you be able to tell us a bit more about how people can be a part of it?
Yeah, it's like a community benefit interest company, and people buy shares. The minimum that you can buy is like 50 shares, but it doesn't matter how many shares you've got. Everybody gets one vote when we have like GM, and we decide what we're going to do in terms of with land, and also like standing for the board of directors, so everybody can vote on who they want to be part of the organising sort of side of it. And yeah, so got 400 members at the minute. We had, and we have like an open share issue now. So anybody's welcome to join and become a member.
Oh, fantastic. Sounds lovely. And you have all sorts of, so there's a bit of a kind of educational dimension to it there, isn't it? There's obviously the ecological side. You want to sort of get the maximum environmental benefit out of the land. And you have public events and things like that there as well, don't you? Would you tell us a bit more about what actually goes on there?
Well, the main premise of it is to sort of educate about how to live more sustainably. And so one of the main things that goes on is sort of food growing. So we want to grow food sustainably using permaculture principles, but also so that it works with nature and the wildlife on site. So it's like a balance between the human needs and the needs of the wildlife and the environment that that we've created there. The other like ecological things that we do are, we want to, by this building, straw bale building, we wanted to show how you could actually create structures and working structures very much using local materials. Lots of cooking on the campfire as well, and sort of get-togethers, and lots of well-being courses as well on site.
Fantastic. And yeah, so the idea of commons and commoning is quite an old one, really, but it might be quite new to some of our viewers. And I wonder if you would give us any sort of sense of what the commons means to you.
It's definitely creating shared resources, with a community of people, and that's the members and also people who aren't members, because anyone can come and visit, and anyone can come on the courses and learn about foraging or lots of the other things that we do. So I think it means to me, it's like a community. It is a community of people with a shared vision of a sort of sustainable future, really. And we've put that in practice rather than just like thinking about it and talking about it.
Yeah, fantastic. It sounds great. It's all very inspiring, and I hope to get to come and visit you at Whistlewood Common soon. Thank you so much for joining us here today at Green Hustle, Katherine. It's been a pleasure meeting you and get to hear a bit more about Whistlewood Common.
Yeah, thanks Adam. Goodbye, buddy. Bye.
So we're here at Green Hustle today, and we're introducing what the idea of the commons is all about. And we have an internationally leading expert on the commons with us today, very fortunate, all the way from Massachusetts. It's David Bollier. So David, thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be with you.
Could you please introduce us to your idea of the commons? What is it all about?
Well, the commons is really a social system for collaboration and sharing. It's a system of peer organization and governance that puts a priority on fairness and participation and inclusion in the managing of shared wealth. And it's different from the state, it's different from the market in that it has different priorities and a different logic, a different ethic, but we see it all around us. We just often don't name it as such, in the way that, for example, we might create open source software or manage a community park or forest or garden, or there's all sorts of academic and scientific commons with publishing and educational resources, and in the arts and culture, plenty of commons, and we can talk about them, but it's a system of shared wealth that is not marketized or propertized the way market things are or government resources are. Really, the commons is more of a verb than a noun. It's the activity of doing it, and in the process of it, you devise a different identity for yourself than consumer purchasing things or citizen voting every few years. It's a very more immersive, participatory, community-minded way of being and knowing.
Yeah, and I think honestly that's sort of what Hockley Hustle feels like it's always been about. You know, we've always been about community minded. You talk about culture quite a lot throughout your podcast and your 12 books and all the other work I've been checking out of yours. And yeah, we've really kind of seen, you know, I think we've grown that cultural resource in Nottingham in a way that is very community minded. And now Nottingham's doing amazing things on an international level. Can't take responsibility for it because that community was already there in Nottingham. We already had that really strong kind of sense of doing things for the right reason. I mean, you know, we're the Robin Hood hometown for a reason.
The whole Nottingham history, Nottingham history, the people in that region really should dig back into it. Read people like Peter Lineau's Magna Carta Manifesto, or Liberty and Commons for All is the subtitle of that. And because that history plays out many of the same patterns of social and political life that we're seeing today, albeit, of course, in the pre-modern time. But I think that it gives us instruction and guidance for how we should deal with some of the contemporary corporate enclosures facilitated by the state, and gives us some distance from some of the roles that the market state have preordained for us, and help us carve out a new path, a new identity, new strategies for ourselves.
We're chatting to a guy in Sneinton, which is a little area quite local to town here. Stuart, he had this bit of land. There was this bit of council-owned land over the road from him, and for a few years he spoke to his local councillor, and he lobbied and said, "Look, can we do something with this land? Can we grow some stuff? Can we rewild it?" And eventually got this bit of land and has turned it into a little community garden. And that seems to me exactly the kind of, it's about kind of looking at that space again, maybe, and reimagining what we can do with it, and reimagining how we can make it work for the community, and you know, start to take a little bit of that power back here and there, doesn't it? I mean, do you think that kind of captures the spirit of commoning?
Yes,
what does being a commoner?
Absolutely, because it's about this bottom-up initiative and creativity, as opposed to fitting into the modules or boxes that the state or bureaucracies have suggested for us. And I mean, I think we see this in the internet, which serves as an infrastructure for so much bottom-up creativity, as exemplified by something like open source software or Wikipedia, where there was no corporation, there was no state, there was no marketplace involved in these things. It was people who had this passion and talent that needed to come together in collective ways. And it's proven, the point is that the Commons is this value generating system.
I think you've introduced a lot of people to a very big idea today, and I'd very much recommend going out and checking out some more of David's work. You blog at bollier.org, is that right? That's
BOLLIER.org. And I guess the 2 or 3 books I'll mention, some of which are online for free. Think Like a Commoner is my introduction to the Commons. And more recently, I have a book, Free, Fair, and Alive, The Insurgent Power of the Commons, with Silke Helfrich, my German colleague.
Which is fantastic.
Which is a broader, richer, even more advanced notion of the Commons. And then I would just say online, if you care to go to patternsofcommoning.org or wealthofthecommons.org, they're both anthologies of essays that explain in far more detail different specific types of commons.
And there's a film as well, isn't there, for the more visually minded? It's This Land Is Our Land, The Fight to Reclaim the Commons.
Yes, that's an hour-long film that's been used in a lot of colleges and universities.
Oh, fantastic. Brilliant. It's been so great to have you join us today, David. Thank you for being with us at Green Hustle. Thank you for giving us this amazing idea and this amazing set of tools that is the Commons. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, thank you, Adam, and I good luck with this festival. I hope that there's a lot of things that spin off from it, because there's no better way than to combine fun, family, and learning about the Commons.